Hello everyone, welcome to Politics Today on Channel Television. I'm Sheung Wakimbaloye. Well, because election is not an event, it's a process. It then means that the journey towards the 2015 election has since been underway. Perhaps we are just now looking towards the D-Day itself. The different parties are not resting at all. Day and night, from the north to the south, and the nooks and crannies of the country, we have been seeing campaigns, and they've been exploring how they can canvass votes from the voters. For us here at Channels Television, we assure you of detailed coverage of the 2015 general elections. Of course, we're already doing that, but one thing we're looking forward to is a peaceful conduct of the polls before and after February this year. Well, for all the 8 elections in Nigeria, or that have been held in Nigeria since independence, all of it has had its own case of election violence. That of 2011 is said to be the bloodiest since 1999. Well, at the nation's capital, Abuja, most of the presidential candidates of the parties converged on the city, and they came into an agreement of a non-violent 2015 elections. They call it the Abuja Peace Accord.
To abide.
The country's unity in diversity must not be undermined by campaigns that seek to exploit either of our 2 major national fault lines, ethnicity and religion. Any injudicious introduction of these 2 factors into the contestation for votes in any part of the country would be bound to stoke up flames of violence.
There's no acceptable alternative. There's no plan B for free, fair, and credible elections in Nigeria.
The attitude and disposition of parties and candidates will determine to a large extent whether we have peaceful or non-violent elections.
On paper, you can't get to Nigeria. You can't. You can only get to Nigeria in the field. Practical implementation. Go to any ministry, go to any parastatal, you will get administrative instruction how the human beings, the workers in Nigeria should be managed from floor clearing one to the permanent secretary and to the minister when he eventually gets there.
We must redeem our political culture. We must redeem our image.
Nigerians will agree with me. Since I became a president, I have conducted a number of governorship elections, senatorial elections, and others. They are not perfect elections, but they have been reasonably fair. And that's why I say that even the opposition parties should commend me for that. And we promise that we will do more, because I believe that when we conduct our elections must be credible, not just by our own thinking, but everybody must believe that elections are credible.
And tonight, we explore that subject, peaceful election, non-violent election, and we seek truly the ways Nigerian politicians can comport themselves in ensuring a peaceful 2015 election. Where to start the conversation tonight, I have the Minister of State for Works and the President Jonathan Cabinet, Mr. Dayo Ayeye. He joins me on the program now. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
We followed the Abuja Peace Accord. And for your party, the ruling party, attention is going to be on your party. What your party does right, what your party does not do right, there's going to be a lot of attention on you. In terms of utterances, in terms of actions, is your party going to abide by this pact?
Well, of course, I would say yes straight away. People know the PDP to be a party of peace, a party of unity. And in the tape you have just played, you saw what the president said. That since he became president of this country,
He has conducted more than 4 or 5 governorship elections, all of which were judged to be very free and fair, non-violent, in which a lot of them, in many cases, opposition parties won the elections. And the president was always the first man to congratulate the winner. So we have a president who believes in real democracy, in free and fair elections. I'm very sure, speaking for the PDP, that of course we will abide by every letter of the peace accords. I am afraid I cannot say that for our opponents. If you recall 2011 elections, that election, according to international observers, was perhaps the freest, the fairest, and the best conducted since 1999. Yet, the aftermath of it was not palatable for Nigerians. It was greeted with extreme violence in the Northwest and the Northeast. And I want to say, without any fear of contradiction, that violence was instigated in large part by the candidate of the CPC then, who is now the candidate of the APC, General Muhammadu Buhari. Prior to the election, he had said that if he did not win, he would make Nigeria ungovernable. And I believe his supporters killed him to that, and immediately their man did not win the election. Election that was free and fair. They decided to unleash violence, mayhem on innocent citizens.
That may be unfair if you say they unleash. It may be unfair because if you say they unleash, and we can't actually pin it to the members of that party. Can you categorically say the member of the party?
Well, his followers, his voters, they don't have to be card-carrying members of the CPC then, but they are his followers in the Northwest and the Northeast. And they followed his direct words. He instigated them directly and indirectly to embark on violence. And I want to say that
you say
even in the middle, yes, I'm saying it. I have said without any fear of contradiction. Even in the midst of that violence, I remember that people called upon General Buhari. They appealed to him to make statements to calm his followers, at least to make statements that will ensure that there will be peace. He refused. And so the mayhem continued. Many, many innocent Jew coppers lost their lives. So I do hope that General Buhari will abide by this. I am not so encouraged by the actions, by the utterances of the APC leaders so far. They are threatening not only fire and brimstone this time around, they are not even saying they are going to make Nigeria ungovernable. They are even going further to say that they are going to form parallel government. Well, to me, that is even treasonable.
Okay, just before we move into that, would you say that you are contented with the comportment of some of the members of your party?
I am absolutely contented with comportment of members of my party.
And even in manner of utterances?
In the manner of utterances, yes. You cannot see PDP people saying that kind of thing. That if we lose the election, Nigeria will become ungovernable. We are going to do 1 or 2 things to destroy the existence of democracy in Nigeria.
But we've seen some supporters of your party who have come forward to say, well, it's either your candidate wins or there's going to be violence. We've heard that.
I'm not aware of that. And I want to say, well, if there is anybody, they will not be those in authority or those who are in position to make statements for the party.
You know, the likes of, General Buhari and some members of the party, chieftains of the party have come out to say the party is not a violent party and they're not willing to be violent in any way.
But you recall,
and they have distanced themselves from all of the kind of violence that we've seen in 2011.
Well, it is difficult for General Buhari to wash himself clean of the violence of 2011.
How do you mean?
Nigerians will not believe that, nor would they accept it. Because it is so glaring that prior to that election, General Buhari made inflammatory statements that virtually encouraged people to violence. And we saw the violence immediately after the elections. And I am now saying that his campaign director, the DG of his campaign, Governor Amechi, is already threatening fire and brimstone. He's already saying they will form parallel government. And the chairman of his party is saying the same thing as well. They are making very inflammatory statements again. And they are saying they are going to make Nigeria not only ungovernable, they are going to form parallel government. In other words, when you say you are going to form parallel government, when you have not won an election, this election, for God's sake, has not been conducted. There is no evidence to suggest that anybody is trying to manipulate this election as of this hour. So why make inflammatory statements?